obviously we see her shooting, we see her passing, we see all that stuff on the floor, but a lot of that comes from a lot of hard work. She's in the gym almost all the time working on her game.
Let's run that. I think her ability to lead this team as a rookie, she's really starting to step into that role, and I think that's exciting to see as well.
Person has got that cachet, that marketability, that could have been selfish, was selfless, and thought not just about herself, but everybody.
Will Caitlin Clark have the greatest coach in basketball history? The Indiana Fever's surprise rise might be about to get substantially worse. According to insiders, what would happen to Christie's team if Larry Bird joined? And what would Clark think? Both the Fever's chances of winning a championship and the WNBA as a whole may suffer considerably as a result. Music. If you're enjoying this video, would you please subscribe before we continue? More than 98% of people watch without doing so, and we actually benefit from your support. I'm grateful. Going back to the story, it's ridiculous to think about how little the Fever were known just a short while ago. They were at the bottom of the league in addition to having troubles.
About greats in this game. You know, the Michael Jordans and the Kobe Bryants and the Steph Currys, they are putting her in that category, the Diana Taurasi's.
Clark now has an 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike that will include her own signature shoe. The deal is the richest sponsorship contract for a woman.
For 7 difficult seasons, the Fever struggled to even qualify for the postseason. The stands were often half empty, and the venue itself had a dead vibe. Other teams regarded Indiana as an easy win while the Fever seemed to be trapped in never-ending renovation. All of things affected the situation without presenting a clear path. Caitlin Clark arrived. The Fever were in the news overnight after grabbing the biggest prospect in college basketball with their first pick. Suddenly, folks who had never thought about the Fever were paying attention. But excitement is followed by pressure. Clark wasn't just any prospect. He was a star at Iowa, noted for easily compiling triple-doubles and shooting half-court shots. Could she continue to dominate the WNBA at that level? Expectations were high. Indiana was seeking for a player, not simply a decent rookie, who has the chance to radically transform their fate. Clark was considered as a generational talent with the ability to save the franchise. What's surprising is that she has exceeded expectations rather than just matching them. Even as a rookie, Clark has proved that he understands the game by performing. She frequently leads her team in points, assists, and rebounds like an accomplished veteran when it matters most. Her impact goes far beyond the box score. Clark has reinvigorated the Fever by making every game feel like an event because of her bold approach, great enthusiasm, and ability to connect her squad. Fans who had previously ignored the Fever are now paying attention. People who have never watched the WNBA suddenly, they are watching the games with Clark. It's not only about winning. It's about creating basketball and Indiana must-watch entertainment once more.
Had teammates that were there with me for 4 years and were really comfortable playing with me. And then you come here and you have to learn your teammates in 2 weeks before you step on the court, and that can be really hard.
Let's run that. I think her ability to lead this team as a rookie, she's really starting to step into that role, and I think that's exciting.
Furthermore, Clark's impact transcends beyond basketball and is altering the business sector. Season ticket sales have soared by more than 400%. Sponsors are stepping forward to be connected with her name, ready to embrace the Caitlin Clark effect, even though they don't fully get why she's become such a phenomenon. The stadiums tell the narrative. Empty chairs are now packed. And they're not just filled by regular fans. Influencers, celebrities, and others who had no prior interest in women's basketball are suddenly joining the fresh energy of the Fever on the floor. Clark's intensity is electrifying. Every possession feels alive as she touches the ball, but her influence doesn't stop when the game is over. She now has a voice on the squad and might potentially have an impact on choices about coaching and direction. That leads us back to the main query. If Larry Bird entered this already tense situation, what would happen? Music. Imagine the intensity led by one of the greatest figures in basketball history. It seems like the ideal matchup with the WNBA's most promising new star on paper. Bird's credentials are unsurpassed. He became one of the most prominent figures in sports history as a player, winning 3 NBA titles and 3 MVP honors. His career set a benchmark that few could equal. And as a coach with the Indiana Pacers, he had an as profound impact. In addition to winning games, Bird helped the squad become a strong challenger in the Eastern Conference. His leadership and vision helped Indiana basketball maintain its respect and competitiveness. He has a history of creating lineups, making tough choices, and nurturing prolonged success. If he applied the same expertise to the Fever, the franchise might have a lot of promise.
Shooting, we see her passing, we see all that stuff on the floor, but a lot of that comes from a lot of hard work. She's in the gym almost all the time working on her game.
Like I said, she's a special player. She commands so much defensive attention. And I think that's one of the things that separates her in terms of...
Larry Bird's and the Indiana basketball run are closely tied. From his days as a college student at Indiana State to his time spent establishing the Pacers, his influence has always been felt. He has never worked in women's basketball, which is an issue. Brings up critical topics. Coaching in the NBA is different from coaching in the WNBA. Experience has proven that men's coaches don't always adjust properly, and the dynamics and style of play are different. Furthermore, fans of the WNBA are loyal to and protective of the league's culture. Therefore, such an action would inspire both excitement and suspicion. It's especially fascinating because of the probable influence on Caitlin Clark. A mentorship from Larry Bird might be revolutionary. His expertise, experience, and perspective would be beneficial to Clark as she grows. Not only as a player, but also as the team's face and music, one of the league's top stars. It includes more than just refining one's talents on the court. It also entails learning how to manage being the focus of attention for a team and a public person who is accountable for the future of a league. She could earn an edge that amplifies her influence with Bird's assistance.
Only been around since 2010, but she's the first player ever to win Rookie of the Month and Player of the Month.
Person has got that cachet, that marketability, that could have been selfish, was selfless, and thought not just about herself, but everybody.
The primary question is whether Clark and Bird's strong personalities would complement one another, or if they would battle over leadership and vision. Bird's involvement might affect public opinions of women's basketball off the court. His name alone is in the headlines. Additionally, since the Fever is already becoming into more than simply a squad and a cultural symbol, the focus would only expand. The stakes are pretty high. At the center of it all is Caitlin Clark, who has both renewed the Fever and improved the team's potential. WNBA. Her entrance led in sold-out venues, a 400% jump in ticket sales, and a rush of commercial agreements, entirely altering the franchise to this day. The thought of adding Larry Bird raises the bar even more. His legendary status might strengthen Clark's impact and take women's basketball to new heights. But the dynamic might also disrupt the team's leadership equilibrium. This gets us to the wider picture. Could this be the start of a new trend? NBA's superstars joining the WNBA to mold its future. It's a workable option that might revolutionize the sport forever. To comprehend how far things have come, it is vital to remember where the Fever was. Music for 7 straight seasons, the squad was unable to qualify for the playoffs. Opponents believed Indiana would win handily. The venue felt empty, and there weren't many fans. There seemed to be no clear road out of the team's never-ending rebuilding cycle. Caitlin Clark came next. After the Fever selected her with their first-round choice, everything abruptly changed. Clark was under immense pressure going into the game because of his reputation for dominating college basketball, making triple-doubles, and shooting routine half-court shots. Whether she could do equally in the WNBA was the primary worry. It was unclear if Caitlin Clark would be successful in the WNBA following her college graduation. Expectations were exceedingly high, especially for a club that urgently needed a turnaround. The astonishing thing is that Clark has not only met but excelled their expectations by dominating games with the poise of an accomplished veteran. Even as a rookie, she's been the one to make plays, score points, and grab rebounds when her team needed them most. But statistics are not the only method to quantify her impact. Because of Clark, the Fever has turned into a basketball contest that everyone must watch. Her tremendous skills, unwavering passion, and natural ability to unify teammates have captured both seasoned WNBA fans and newcomers who had never seen women's basketball before. The impact stretches well beyond the court. Sales of season tickets have gone up 100%, and the franchise's bottom line is soaring. Did Ian attempt to join the Clark boom? Sponsors are throwing money into the market. Even if they don't fully realize it, Rena's previously half-vacant eyes are now full of life. The seats are now occupied by more than simply fans. Participants include celebrities, influencers, and UPand-coming athletes. Clark's exuberance on the floor is contagious, pushing others to join the action. She is now more than just a standout player and has the power to affect coaching and direction choices, and her influence on the squad continues to expand. This takes us full circle to the primary question. What happened if Larry Bird were to enter the setting? On paper, image Caitlin Clark, who has already become the face of the WNBA, working with one of the biggest names in basketball history, Larry Bird. It's tough to judge the effects of this option, even though it looks to be the perfect balance of experience and emerging confidence. Larry Bird's record as a player speaks for itself. In addition to winning 3 NBA titles and 3 MVP awards, he established the bar for domination in the sport. Later, as head coach of the Indiana Pacers, he showed that he could lead both on and off the court by making them a legitimate challenger in the Eastern Conference instead of